Egypt, the land of pharaohs, a kingdom of gods in human form. We remember the pyramids, the golden tombs, the temples carved into stone. But what we often forget is the blood behind the beauty. The pharaohs who built Egypt's glory weren't just rulers, they were ruthless conquerors, master manipulators, and visionaries obsessed with immortality. From a warlord who forged Egypt in blood, to a tyrant who enslaved thousands for his pyramid, to a heretic king who tried to erase Egypt's gods. These are the 5 ruthless pharaohs who built Egypt. 3,000 years before Christ, Egypt was not a single nation. It was 2 lands, Upper Egypt in the south, Lower Egypt in the north. They fought constantly, locked in an endless struggle. Into this chaos came a warlord named Narmer. He dreamed of something radical, a united Egypt. Narmer marched north, crushing his rivals with merciless brutality. On the Narmer palette, we see the king raising his mace, about to strike down a defeated enemy. Beneath his feet lie the broken bodies of those who dared oppose him. Some accounts suggest Narmer celebrated victory by sacrificing prisoners, their decapitated heads arranged as trophies. But Narmer's violence was not mindless. His ruthless campaign created something the world had never seen: the first centralized kingdom on earth. One flag, one throne, one Egypt. For the first time, the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt was worn by one man. It was bloody, it was brutal, but it was the beginning of a civilization that would last 3,000 years. Fast forward 5 centuries. Egypt was now strong, wealthy, and ambitious. But one pharaoh, Khufu, wanted more than wealth. He wanted immortality. Khufu ordered the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. To achieve it, he unleashed unimaginable suffering. Herodotus, the Greek historian, wrote centuries later that Khufu closed Egypt's temples, forced citizens into slavery, and demanded 100,000 men labor in shifts for decades. Workers dragged limestone blocks weighing several tons across desert sands, whipped and beaten if they faltered. For 20 long years, Egypt bled for Khufu's dream. And when it was finished, the Great Pyramid stood 481 feet tall, the tallest structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. Khufu was hated by his people, remembered as a tyrant, but his vision achieved exactly what he wanted: immortality. Today, his pyramid is the last surviving wonder of the ancient world: Khufu the tyrant, Khufu the immortal. Egypt was a land of kings, but one woman refused to bow. Her name was Hatshepsut. When her husband died, the throne should have passed to his young son, Thutmose III. Instead, Hatshepsut seized power for herself. She did something unthinkable. She declared herself pharaoh. She wore the false beard of kingship, dressed as a man, and demanded the loyalty of Egypt's elite. Those who resisted were quietly erased from the record, their names vanished, their monuments destroyed. But Hatshepsut was not a reckless usurper. She was visionary. Instead of endless war, she turned to wealth building. She reopened trade routes, sending her ships on the legendary expedition to Punt, bringing back gold, ivory, exotic animals, and frankincense. Her crowning achievement was her temple at Deir el-Bahri, a masterpiece of harmony carved into cliffs, a temple like no other in Egypt. For 2 decades, she ruled as king. A woman who defied tradition, erased rivals, and proved that ambition, not bloodline, built Egypt's greatness. Egypt was a land of hundreds of gods, but one pharaoh dared to destroy them all. His name was Akhenaten, and his vision was dangerous. Around 1353 BCE, he declared that only one god was real, Aten, the sun disk. He shut down temples, defaced the names of Amun, Ra, and Osiris, and forced Egypt to worship Aten alone. Priests rebelled, citizens whispered in fear, but Akhenaten would not bend. He even abandoned Egypt's ancient capital and built a new city, Akhenaten, modern-day Amarna, devoted entirely to Aten. Artists were ordered to abandon Egypt's rigid style and show the royal family in bizarre, lifelike forms. Statues depicted Akhenaten with elongated features, wide hips, and swollen lips. Shocking, alien, unlike any pharaoh before. But his vision was too extreme. After his death, the old gods returned with vengeance. His temples were destroyed, his name scratched out, his city abandoned to the desert. Akhenaten tried to reshape eternity, and for a moment, he did. But Egypt was not ready for one god. His ruthlessness nearly broke the kingdom apart. Then came the mightiest of them all, Ramses II, Ramses the Great. He ruled for 66 years, one of the longest reigns in history. Ruthless in battle, visionary in ambition. He wanted nothing less than to live forever. At the Battle of Kadesh, Ramses led Egypt against the Hittites. He nearly lost everything. Surrounded, his army broken, Ramses claimed divine inspiration gave him the strength to fight back. He escaped and declared it a glorious victory. The truth? The battle was a stalemate. But Ramses carved his victory into every temple wall in Egypt, making sure history remembered him as a conqueror. His propaganda was unmatched. His monuments were endless. The temples of Luxor, the colossal Ramesseum, and above all, Abu Simbel. There, 4 66-foot statues of Ramses gaze across the desert, godlike, eternal. Ramses even signed the world's first recorded peace treaty, but in his temples, he depicted himself as the sole victor. He fathered over 100 children, filled Egypt with his name, and ruled until he was nearly 90. Ramses II, ruthless in ego, visionary in legacy. He wanted eternity, and he got it. Narmer, Khufu, Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, Ramses, they were brutal, merciless, and cunning. But without their ruthless vision, Egypt might have crumbled long before its time. These pharaohs proved that greatness is not gentle. It is seized, carved into stone, written in blood, and remembered for thousands of years. Egypt's sands may shift, its temples may crumble, but the names of its greatest pharaohs will never die. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the next story drops.